Hey, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Hope you're doing well. Here to ask you basically a pretty straightforward question. Should we, as music fans, a music community, people passionate about music, especially music online, especially free music online and streaming music online, should we be concerned with the dissipation of SoundCloud? Should we try to actively save SoundCloud? Now, if you didn't catch it, this is the original TechCrunch article over here. Shout out to the good people at TechCrunch. This article and pretty much everything else you're going to see on screen is linked down there in the description box. They did some really solid reporting here talking about SoundCloud essentially in light of recent layoffs where they let go almost 200 people. They closed a few pretty big offices. Some pictures leaked of those offices, which looked really expensive and really ritzy. They've sort of bought themselves a bit of time in doing this and laying off these people, closing these offices, about as much time to last the company to the fifth quarter at the time of releasing this article was about 50 days. And SoundCloud responded to this article saying that there were inaccurate things about the article. The response was kind of weak in that all their response really did was confirm a lot of the things the article said. But recently, as you probably caught in my Chance the Rapper beefing with Justice League video, Chance the Rapper says he's going to save SoundCloud. He's working on the SoundCloud thing. And his, I guess, short-term answer or response here was essentially him releasing a pretty mediocre track featuring Young Thug, which is a song that I don't think anybody's going to be listening to next year, badly recorded, and Young Thug could barely do $40,000 for a project that he himself releases. So how is he going to save a whole streaming music platform with Chance the Rapper? I don't know. And honestly, even if thousands of artists on the SoundCloud platform released music specifically for the saving of SoundCloud, I don't see how that would save the platform either, because the platform honestly already gets a lot of streams, already gets a lot of attention, already gets a lot of traffic. I don't see how a little bit more traffic now in the short term is going to save the platform, because here's the thing. What has put SoundCloud in trouble is a series of mediocre, subpar business practices and kind of faking it until they made it. They spent a lot of money. They opened a lot of offices. They spent a lot of investor money. They hired a lot of people without actually having a solid monetization plan in place as they were doing all this stuff. I get that they wanted to have a lot of infrastructure. I get that they wanted to have, basically a lot of people on the team so they get things done quickly, but they hadn't really solved the problem of how is this platform going to make a lot of money, enough money to pay for all this in the long term. And now SoundCloud is kind of suffering the consequences of that. And it's not like what we're seeing here is an altogether new thing. There have been instances in the past of news articles talking about SoundCloud. They're not making that much money, or they need some more investor money, or they need somebody to swoop in and buy the platform. And almost every single company that has stepped in there to look and sort of investigate and like, oh, okay, Google's sort of interested. Spotify, I believe, who's referenced in this article, was, focusing on independent by not beating Spotify and Apple Music, plans like Spotify. Sure, I have a Spotify account. And more recently Spotify, but neither of those deals went through. Okay, so there were acquisition talks from Twitter as well, which I was not fully aware of, and more recently Spotify. So there have been lots of platforms that have approached SoundCloud, with a bit of interest in buying it, but they've stepped back, and why do they do that? It's most likely because there's not a solid long-term monetization plan in place to save the platform. Now, should we try as a music community to save SoundCloud? One, I don't think just simply releasing tracks is going to do it. I mean, and really at this point, that's all that musicians can do, because even if, again, thousands of SoundCloud artists release music onto SoundCloud to try to draw attention to this, to try to save the platform, they're not monetizing that traffic. They're not monetizing those songs effectively. So really, how are you saving the platform that way? And it's not like musicians have any power to change the company's business practices, which put the company in trouble in the first place. Just releasing a bunch of music isn't going to change that. It may be sad to sort of think of losing SoundCloud because there is a really healthy and a really creative sort of culture of artists on SoundCloud, especially, kind of these dark, edgy SoundCloud rappers and, rappers like Chance the Rapper as well, who if SoundCloud wasn't there, if SoundCloud wasn't a thing, he potentially couldn't enjoy the career he does right now, because that's kind of the platform where he made his name for the most part. I get that it's sad to sort of think of artists like Chance the Rapper not having that opportunity to come up in the way that he did. But at the end of the day, I feel like if we were to step in and try all that we could to save SoundCloud in spite of their bad business practices, we would only be kind of congratulating them and I guess in a way, the word I'm looking for is awarding them for the fact that they haven't figured out how to run a company. And you know what? These are only things that at this point I could assume and suppose because SoundCloud has not been very forthcoming with this information. And like I said before, when they tried to refute what TechCrunch asserted in their original article, they pretty much just backed up a lot of what TechCrunch said. Obviously there are a lot of things that we can only assume at this point about why SoundCloud is in the red. But this has kind of been the case for SoundCloud for a long time. And it seems like there are no longer any investors and there are no longer any other companies looking to support, looking to supply more money, looking to purchase. So now it's almost like upon the shoulders of the users and the fans and the people who kind of really care about free music online to save the platform. But will it really be worth it? Because honestly, if we award them for this behavior and we award them for this failure, eventually we're going to get to a point where it's no longer really about the artistry on SoundCloud. It's no longer really about the artists. It's all about like, oh, we have to save SoundCloud. We have to save SoundCloud. We have to save SoundCloud. Because honestly, if SoundCloud doesn't present a logical and a feasible plan to actually make the platform successful long term, which SoundCloud has been around for years, they should have that by now. They should have figured out the formula. So if in the next 40 days while the platform is still around, because they're yet to sort of refute the accusation that the platform is dying, if they're still around after 40 days and they don't have a plan to actually save this thing, I don't know what artists can do, and I don't really know if artists should do anything outside of try to start a platform and put your music somewhere else, which honestly, if you're an artist and you're putting up free stuff online, you probably should be doing that because, you really shouldn't have all your eggs in one basket just in case stuff like this happens. You really should. You really should. Your stuff should be on YouTube. Your stuff should be on Bandcamp. Your stuff should be on multiple platforms where people can stream it because companies don't stay around forever. Or sometimes they get bought out by other companies, and then the way the company works totally changes, and it's sort of like a top-down adjustment because things don't stay the same. Change is the only constant, everybody. Change is the only constant. So at this point, I'm not really sure if saving SoundCloud is worth it. My creative side, my side sort of sympathetic to the artists on the platform, does say and does feel that is sad. That's depressing. That's a sad thought. However, my more logical side says, well, SoundCloud is in the red because SoundCloud can't figure out how to, work their own house. So why is it the artist's responsibility to fix what SoundCloud broke? I feel like artists should, worry about their own success a little bit more, worry about their own future a little bit more, and not worry so much about whether or not SoundCloud is going to be around. Because honestly, there are other places to put music right now, and if SoundCloud fails, there will be another place to replace it. And hopefully, whoever is running or programming for that site figures out a way to actually monetize it in an effective way, so that it's a platform people can stick with, stay with. thrive off of and enjoy for years to come. Hopefully SoundCloud doesn't end up dying and they do figure it out and they do get their shit together. But as of right now, I'm not seeing anything, indicative of that. Maybe if SoundCloud is still around after, 6 months, we can kind of rest easy and say, okay, maybe they figured it out. But just as a longtime user of SoundCloud, I don't see a lot of ads. I don't see a lot of people participating in the payment system on SoundCloud. I don't see a lot of monetization on the platform, a lot of effective monetization on the platform. And I'm just wondering, when is that going to happen? Because there's only so many times people are going to swoop in to save what SoundCloud is trying to do here. And those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys got something out of this video. You're the best. And love you.